All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone for joining today. Just as a general note, we have everyone muted for the duration of the webinar, but if you have any questions or technical difficulties throughout this time, please feel free to send them in the chat box and we'll be checking that pretty frequently. And we will respond to all of the questions either at the end of the webinar or we'll get back to you personally through email. All right, so first things first, thank you all so much for attending this morning's webinar. Over the next half hour, we're going to provide an overview of the Contractor Co-op program and how it works. So if we have any current co-op contractors on the line, this might also be a helpful review of how the program works. The first thing we wanted to do is tell you a little bit about the team behind Co-op and who we are and how you might be interacting with us. My name is Kate Rathbun. I've been with the Energy Network for about 4 months now and have been working with Co-op since I started. Some of you may have worked with me already, and I am really looking forward to working with anyone new coming onto Co-op.
And my name is Milan, and I'm also a representative for the co-op team. I've been working with this program for a little over a year and worked with Victoria, if any of you remember her from previously submitting projects.
So you might be wondering what the Energy Network is and what we do. If you're new, we're a local government organization created by the California Public Utilities Commission, or the CPUC, and we help administer the Home Upgrade program here in Southern California, particularly in this purple area you see here on the map. So we cover a pretty wide area. Our goal is to provide resources and assistance for energy efficiency upgrades for homeowners, businesses, and public agencies, and Co-op is one of the ways that we do that. So a little bit about the Contractor Co-op program to start. The aim of Co-op is to support our participating contractors with their home upgrade work. We strive to do that by providing a 50% reimbursement on qualifying purchases up to $10,000. A contractor is eligible if they're actively submitting home upgrade applications and are within that purple service territory that you saw on the previous slide. So to go over the benefits of Co-op, Co-op is a really cool program. It's the only program of its kind in the state available to home upgrade contractors to help them with their business costs. And one of the great things about it is it allows you to really stretch that budget for marketing and equipment, make certifications and trainings more affordable, maybe get someone on your team certified that you might not have been able to otherwise. And it helps you cut your costs on resources and supplies that are going to make you a more attractive option for a customer, or have it be something that enhances your services for that customer. So another thing is Co-op has been really great. We have one contractor in particular that has really made the most of their funds. One of the things that they've done recently is they've been able to make use of all 3 different categories that we offer for Co-op. They've been able to get their BPI certification. They bought a few pieces of equipment, BPI equipment, to help them with their services. And they've also already paid for about 8 months of ad space in a city magazine. And they still have about $6,000 left over. So that's just a really good example of how you can really stretch these funds to do marketing, certifications, and equipment. So I'm going to pass this over to Milan to talk about the type of materials that are eligible under Co-op.
Thank you, Kate. So as you can see here, there's a wide variety of items that could be reimbursed. We usually like to break them down into 3 categories, which are marketing, equipment, and trainings and certifications. For Contractor Co-op, we require that all purchases go through our pre-approval process to ensure that all materials align with our brand guidelines before being purchased. For marketing projects, these are a great way to receive reimbursements through Contractor Co-op. T-shirts and auto wraps like the ones shown on the slide, print ads and magazines, newspapers, flyers, and direct mailers are just some of the marketing materials you could create with Contractor Co-op. So we find that there's sometimes a confusion about the brand guidelines that come along with developing marketing projects, but it's actually pretty simple. First, the approved Home Upgrade Participating Contractor logo that we provide must appear somewhere on your design, and the logo can be resized to scale but cannot be altered in any other way. Kate's actually going to go over more about this in a later section of the presentation. Second, there must be an appropriate home upgrade messaging on the design, and we provide a list of recommended blurbs within our program guideline document. It can be something as simple as ask about home upgrade or get up to $3,000 in rebates and incentives with home upgrade. So as you can see, starting a marketing project is actually pretty simple. And when you submit it in for required pre-approval, we will review your design, and if anything needs to be updated, all you have to do is just send in over a fix and we'll approve the project. For equipment purchases and calibrations, these are eligible for reimbursement if the equipment directly benefits your home upgrade work. For example, we have blower door, duct blaster, energy modeling software, and most BPI equipment that would be reimbursable for co-op. The equipment can be bought from any vendor of your choice, and all we need to do is pre-approval from get a pre-approval quote from the vendor and the items you wish to buy. Because there's usually some variability in the vendors and equipment, we check this on a case-by-case basis. And so lastly, trainings and certifications. This is another way to get reimbursed for Contractor Co-op. Trainings and certifications are must be relevant to enhancing your services as a home upgrade contractor. And to pre-approve these, the provider must be accredited, and we request that either a quote from the vendor or the title, cost, and website is provided for review. We also approve these on a case-by-case basis, just because there's sometimes great variability in the provider offerings and costs. So now that you've reviewed the eligible projects, which are the marketing, equipment, and trainings and certifications, here's how you get started in 3 easy steps. So step 1 is review the contractor guidelines. First, the co-op representative will check your eligibility status and request a W-9 if needed, and then the representative will send you a program guideline and a participation agreement for you to review. And step 2, sign the participation agreement and email it to co-op@theenergynetwork.com. It's pretty simple with that. All you need to do is sign 2 pages on the paper, which is usually page 2 and page 7. And then step 3, you could actually just start using your matching funds. So once we've gotten you started, you can begin submitting your projects for a Contractor Co-op. This slide will explain more about how you can start receiving your matching funds. So step 1, which is pre-approval. Submit your marketing project, equipment, training, or certification to co-op@theenergynetwork.com. To be qualified, all items considered for co-op must first be reviewed and approved before being purchased. If it is a marketing project, please send a design or a proof from the vendor. If it's an equipment or training and certification, please send us the quote from the vendor. And step 2, the invoice. So after the project has been reviewed by a co-op rep, submit the final invoice. Each eligible contractor can receive up to $10,000 in co-op matching funds, and 50% of the final cost for each approved item will be reimbursed until the $10,000 limit is reached. And lastly, step 3, the co-op rep will process your reimbursement and your check will arrive in 4 to 6 weeks. And next will be Kate talking about the FAQs.
All right, so we wanted to go over a couple of these just in case you might have been thinking them throughout the webinar. The first question we get a lot is, do I need to spend down all of my co-op matching funds at once? And the answer to that is no. You can submit multiple projects separately until you reach that maximum reimbursement of $10,000. Depending on what you choose to purchase, this might take a long time or it might happen really quickly. Of course, for those larger projects that cost more, of course, since we take that 50% reimbursement, you know, you'll have a larger chunk of your matching funds used up if you do a larger purchase. And just one plug, for those contractors enrolled or who are planning on enrolling in this 2015 to 2016 program cycle, we highly recommend taking advantage of as much of the full $10,000 before December 31st, 2016. We'll probably send out a notice in a month here or so, but you'll want to submit those projects for pre-approval about a week before then. Another question we get is, what is my remaining matching fund balance? I believe I mentioned this at the beginning of the webinar. I can't quite remember, but Milan and I really managed pretty much all this whole program. So if you have any questions or you're sending stuff in for pre-approval, it'll probably be one of us that process that purchase for you. And if you have any questions or want to know what your remaining balance is, we can check that as well. You can just email us at coop@theenergynetwork.com to find that out. Another thing we'd like to plug is that if you'd like some assistance in figuring out how you can plan your funds to get the most out of it, we're more than happy to help you do that. And so another question we get that Milan covered briefly earlier is, where can I download the approved Home Upgrade Participating Contractor logos? That is the one thing to know about doing marketing projects with us, is that there is a very specific Home Upgrade logo to use. It has this participating contractor line on it. And a variety of these are available on our website, tenres.com/co-op. And we ask that you remember to review and follow our brand guidelines when you're using this logo. Again, there's a variety of these available, from these blue ones you see here to grayscale logos and all white ones, depending on what works for your design. So another question we get pretty frequently is, what is going to cause my design to get kicked back for revisions? We don't necessarily have to kick back designs very often, but the two things we see most often is just really simple misuse of the Home Upgrade logo and incorrect Home Upgrade messaging. So the thing to know with the logo is that it just can't be stretched or disfigured in any way. The logo can be resized to scale, but it can't be vertically or horizontally stretched unnaturally. Our second marketing requirement, if you do choose to include Home Upgrade messaging on your design, it has to be the right dollar amount. That's one of the things we see pretty often, is that the dollar amount for some reason will be off. So if you choose to put the dollar amount, it has to say up to $3,000 in rebates and incentives for Home Upgrade, or up to $6,500 in rebates and incentives for advanced Home Upgrade. A lot of times we'll hear contractors are a little nervous to do a marketing project, but there's really not anything to fear. Like Milan said earlier, the brand guidelines really aren't as stringent as they seem to be, but they do have to go through that pre-approval process just so we can make sure that the messaging getting out there and the logo being shown is correct. So the last question we get really frequently is, can you recommend equipment vendors, training, or certification providers? Unfortunately, we can't provide partial recommendations for these things, but we might be able to help direct you in the right direction, if depending on what it is. And so that's about it from us. Thank you so much for participating. We are going to leave the line open for another minute or two for questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat box now. For those of you who attended, and also for anyone who might not have been able to attend, we will send a follow-up email in a day or two here, including the recording of this webinar and the presentation. And as always, if you have any questions or you would like to get started with co-op, please feel free to email us at the email shown, coop@theenergynetwork.com, or give us a call at this number, and we are happy to help. Leave it open for a little longer here.
So it looks like we actually.
Okay, and it looks like we got a couple questions here. I'll let Milan take these.
So is reimbursement available with a lease for equipment? Unfortunately, it's only for purchase. Another question is, can HERS raters offering administrative services to contractors, including all testing, participate in co-op? Actually, just let another HERS rater be a part of co-op. So yes, I would say that HERS raters are available to participate with co-op.
And actually, the CalCerts HERS training is reimbursable under co-op, for anyone who's wondering. Alrighty, I guess we'll cut it off there. Thank you again, everyone, for attending, and please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.